Hi, Paul Sakis, Good News Broadcast. I'm speaking to Marvin Blake. Hey, Marvin, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Paul? I'm fine, thank you.
All right, Marvin and I were doing our best to get to speak before the International Day of Peace on the September 21st. However, it got a little chaotic, and we wanted to do it on Zoom and some technology things, and that got a little mixed up. But Marvin and I have endured, and we are now working together, and we have gotten our technology together. Marvin's kind of hanging out, relaxing, because it's just that kind of a day. There's going to be a big rainstorm up here, and I'm so happy to get to talk to you. How are you feeling?
Oh, feeling good. Feeling good. Thank you. Yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Literary Prestige Award-winning author pens a unique trilogy on slavery and the Civil War. The reason I wanted to speak with him before the International Day of Peace is because the theme of the International Day of Peace is end racism. And the Civil War had a lot of racism connected to it by far, as we all know. And so I thought it would be appropriate. But let's discuss this now. Let's discuss, well, tell us about the trilogy, and you're a prize-winning author, written other books. Tell us about the Civil War trilogy right now, please.
Well, as you stated, the trilogy is historical fiction. And what I really was attempting to do is to educate while entertaining. The period of time that's covered by the trilogy, the three books, which consist of Why, E Pluribus Unum, and Precious in His Sight. Those three books cover the period in United States history from 1837 to 1887. The first book, Why, tells about the antebellum South and the practice of slavery. And I'm telling it from the perspective of fictional characters around actual historical events, but the fictional characters are all from my mind, they're from my imagination. And I wanted to really depict what slavery was like, as opposed to what we commonly see in such films as Gone with the Wind and those type of films, where the slaves are depicted as docile people, content with their way of life and just accepting it, as opposed to what I really believe slaves were undergoing. And this is based on family history. My mother was born in 1913, and my mother and my grandmother would tell me, actually, and my grandmother's grandmother, of course, was a slave, would tell me what conditions were like. So I wanted to really to hone in on that, and that's seen through the eyes of two main characters in Why are two girls born 3 days apart on a plantation in Richmond, Virginia, a cotton plantation. One girl is white, the other girl is black. That came about because of the owner, the white girl's father, who owned the plantation, also had, I won't say an affair because that has connotations, I guess 21st century connotations, had relations, that's a better word, with one of his black slaves, the mother of the black girl. The white girl's name is Rebecca, the black girl's name is Mandy. And these two girls, born 3 days apart, unbeknownst to themselves at the time, as they were growing up, were sisters. And they were constant companions, and they were constant companions because the mistress of the plantation wanted the black girl to provide companionship for her daughter, who was actually, in actuality, she was really a living rag doll. I won't say rag doll, but you get the picture. But anyway, they developed a very strong relationship, which carried all the way through their childhood as toddlers up to the time that they were the Civil War, and the father of the plantation lost the plantation because he invested in the Confederacy, and he lost the plantation, and the family was forced to move west, and they were taking advantage of the Homestead Act. I won't go into the details of that, but the whole story is, as I said before, around actual historical events. While they were moving west, they were attacked by Indians. The two girls were captured by Indians, Comanche Indians, as a matter of fact, and their lifestyle was completely changed. And now we're looking at the 19th century as it applied to the Plains Indians. And what the girls had to do to survive as slaves themselves. Mandy already had been a slave all of her life, and she helped her sister to assimilate to the Comanche way of life in order to survive, as a method to survive. That's it. Why is a lengthy book. It's actually 662 pages, and there's a lot. I just gave you a little thumbnail sketch of the era, the era that Y covers. The second book, E Pluribus Unum. E Pluribus Unum is in actuality the sequel to Y. E Pluribus Unum picks up the main character in E Pluribus Unum happens to be a minor character in Y. The main character in E Pluribus Unum is actually Mandy's brother, not related to Rebecca, but Mandy's brother. And it follows him. He was the valet, if you will, of the owner of the son of the owner of the Rosewood plantation, and he follows him into the Civil War as his personal slave, and he escapes, and the character's name is Justin, by the way. Justin's Billings is his name. And once he escaped, he changed his name from Justin's Billings. Billings is the family name of the owners, his former owners, and he changed his name to be Justin Ruth. Ruth was his mother's Christian name, so Justin Ruth. And it follows him during the Civil War. He joins the Massachusetts 54th Infantry. He serves with honor through the Civil War, and at the end of the Civil War, he takes on the position of the senior enlisted soldier, Union soldier, during Reconstruction at the Freedmen's Bureau in Virginia. Anyway, E Pluribus Unum follows him, his years in the Army, his years as a civilian going across country, and it takes in and brings into this mix in this novel. E Pluribus Unum, by the way, if you don't know, or I didn't know, I picked the title E Pluribus Unum because its literal translation, it's Latin, and its literal translation is from many one. And the idea here was that I picked this title, which, by the way, many people advised me not to pick a Latin title for a historical fiction book. But in any event, I decided to pick this title to show that the United States is actually, the culture of the United States as we know it is the result of an amalgamation of a vast array of immigrants, people who came here voluntarily, who wanted to, and the slaves, of course, that totally was involuntary, but they were immigrants also, in the literal definition of an immigrant. During Jason's, I'm so sorry.
No problem.
I don't know how to turn this thing off. I'm sitting on the phone, so trying to muffle it.
It's okay. It's all right.
In any event,
E publis unum. You know, we're all in it together. That's the way life is. In the everyday sense, when people realize the fact that we're all brothers and sisters, and we
absolutely,
treat each other
absolutely,
kindly, lovingly, and respectfully and compassionately. A lot of the things that did not occur during the time that you are writing about, and unfortunately, similar scenarios in today's world. And we need to be more accepting and understanding. From many, we are one, because we'll always be one, because we're all Homo sapiens. And the sooner we just accept that reality and love our brothers and sisters, life will be a little bit better. Please continue. And then I want to ask you just one question, and then we're going to talk again. I see you're a very wise man, and I love the way you're explaining your 662-page book. I don't know, how does somebody write that? You should be writing an encyclopedia. So I have no idea. That I can only imagine the detail and the research and the conversations with great-grandma, grandma, and the mommy, and all these people in your life to come out with that amount of wisdom. So we're going to let the audience learn about that when they learn about your website. So please continue. Let us know about the trilogy, and we're just going to make this part one of some other conversations, because I'm very impressed here. Thank you.
okay. So I'm quickly going to try to get you mentioned why being 662 pages. The sequel, E Pluribus Unum, that I started to before we were interrupted by the phone, actually is over 500 pages. So, anyway, what in Jason's travel after he leaves the army across the United States, he's introduced to many historical characters, actual characters, and brings in. I pull into the story the Transcontinental Railroad and the immigration, the Asian immigration into the United States. So now we've got the blacks and the black culture from before the Civil War and the immediate period during Reconstruction. And we have the white population, i.e., the population at least seen through the eyes or is described by me of the white slave owners in the South. And now we bring in the Chinese immigrants who were I won't say transported to, but who immigrated to the United States to better their life, and also how they were instrumental in the building of the Transcontinental Railroad. Okay, as I said, that's over 500 pages. To put that, I'm going to jump from that to the last book, because I could take forever talking about it.
In the end here, I got a feeling we're looking at about 1,500 pages, but go on. Maybe more.
Good news, Paul. The last book is 350 pages.
Oh, you slackard. What's your problem with you? I always thought you couldn't write a lot. Nah, you just.
I can't. So the last book, Precious in His Sight, the title of that book, I tried to title each one of my books for the title to be descriptive of what I'm trying to teach in terms of, remember I said, I'm trying to teach while entertaining. And Precious in His Sight was the title. I remembered my grandmother used to sing this to me as a kid, this little, and if you don't mind, a quick, I'm not a singer.
I'll sing you my grandmother's song too. Go on.
Yeah, she used to say, and by the way, well, I'm digressing here, but she used to sing this song to me. Be they red, yellow, black, or white, we're all precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Anyway, I love
that song. I can relate to that song. I'm a total believer in that song. That is a song dear to my heart, and I know that song.
Absolutely. So
My
Precious in his,
grandmother's song, just to digress, because I am a classic digressor, is Schluff my Fegela, Schließ dein Egela, oh, alu, 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 sei mir Norgesinn, sei mein Kind, oh, alu, alu, alu. It's a bedtime, go to bed song. Since you're in bed, I don't want to sing it too much because you might fall asleep. So the point is, I'm going to go to bed now. I just got my booster, so I think I'm starting to get tired. That's why I don't want to talk much longer because I think I'm getting tired from this is the last booster of boosters. I don't know. So please finish up with the short story.
okay. I'm really, I can take a hint.
No. I'm tired. In any case, because we still have to edit it. All righty. So
okay. The last book, Precious in His Sight, is also is following the period of Reconstruction, as you well know. Actually, Reconstruction after the Civil War was probably a 10-year period, a decade. But following the Civil War and the end of I introduced in the second book. Oh man! Oh, you can edit this.
No, we don't edit. That's why I'm singing, so we don't hear whatever someone is saying to you.
Okay.
All right. That's why I did.
As I was saying, the Precious in His Sight follows the period after Reconstruction, but after the end of the United States Army's, the United States government's war against the Plains Indians. And what it hones in on is how these all came together. These people came together. Remember, many of these characters, not all, but many of these characters were introduced to you in the first novel. Why? And they're still alive. It's like a 40-year period. Okay, and their children. Okay, so in summary, what I wanted to do with Precious in His Sight was to hone in on the government's method of assimilating their process in assimilating the Plains Indians into the Euro-American civilization culture. And it's called Grant's peace proposal or peace policy. I'm sorry, not proposal, policy. And the policy was to assimilate the Plains Indians into the American culture. But by doing so, what they inadvertently did, and by the way, Ulysses S. Grant is one of my heroes, my historical heroes. But that aside.
This was a real policy. This was a real thing. Grant's
inadvertently, and there's another old saying that my grandmother used to say to me, my mother did also, that the best laid plans of mice and men, can often go astray. Well, one of the results of Grant's peace policy was that while he was trying to assimilate the Plains Indians into the American culture, it was at the destruction, almost the complete destruction of their culture. The kids were taken from their families at the age of 4. From 4 to 15, all those kids those Native American kids were forced to go to Indian industrial schools. And they were forbidden to speak their native culture. They were forbidden to follow their native religions, et cetera, et cetera.
He was what at the time? Grant was what at the time when he did this?
Excuse me?
What was Grant at that time?
Oh, this was about 1876 or 7.
What was his official title at that time?
He was the president of the United States of America.
That's what I thought. So, okay. All righty. That's just what happens when people try to put people in this manner together.
Yeah.
I hear you.
He was the 18th president of the United States of America. Okay. So in any event,
Johnson Brothers.
Skipping a lot, even though my third novel is
Yeah,
nearly 350 pages,
yeah,
skipping a
the short
lot.
story, the short story, short story.
Skipping a lot. I brought all three of these people, these cultures together at the at one of America's first Black colleges, historically Black colleges. That was Hampton Institute in Hampton, Virginia, which was founded in 1868. And many people don't realize this, but not only was Hampton Institute training, helping to train and educate the free ex-slaves, also Hampton Institute accepted in its student population the Native Americans. So now I have all these cultures coming together, okay? And the characters from Y and from E Pluribus Unum, and now some new characters introduced in Precious in His Sight and their children, they come together to form this amalgamation that I call the American dream, or should be the American dream, whereby we all can come together, live together, and prosper together if we all just give life and humanity a chance.
All right, that's the quote. Long quick, if you can share. Last question: what is peace for you? What's peace? What makes you peaceful? What's peace for you?
I'm sorry, Paul, I didn't hear that.
What is peace for you? Peace.
What is peace for me? Oh, okay. Well, me personally, a lot of the characters that I introduced in my novels were characters that I have encountered along my life. Okay. Why is as I said before, why is based on the fact that when I was growing up, I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, which Maryland, as you probably know, was one of the border states during the Civil War, and one of the states that legalized slavery. So my people, they weren't from Baltimore. My people were from the eastern shore of Maryland. And as a kid, growing up in a segregated community, which I really think of as an adult, I think it was more like apartheid as opposed to segregation. I used to, as a kid, I would be discriminated against, called, I won't use the epithets, but names. You can imagine what names I was called. And I used to ask my mother, why are they doing this? Okay. Then when I grew up and in 1954, there was the Supreme Brown versus the Board of Education, which outlawed segregation in schools, separate but equal. And I had intended when I graduated from junior high school, I thought, by the way, I'm one of 10, and I'm the eighth, the eighth. So that's a lot of kids. And when I was, I thought that I would be attending one of the Black high schools in Baltimore, but my mother insisted. My mother is my hero in my life, that I go to a white school, an all white school. You know, it wasn't all white. About 10% of us were, the students were non-whites or Blacks. And my time there in the school, I found to be very enjoyable with the kids. The kids accepted us for who we were and what basically, to be honest with you, the Black kids who were at Southern High School, that's the name of the school, Southern High, wow, imagine that, were sort of the elite, the handpicked, okay? So we were talented. And my fellow students, the white students, they treated us really nice, very nice. But their parents, we actually, when we got off the bus to walk up to the school, we had to walk, especially the first day, the opening day of school, you know, we had to walk through a line of parents, the white parents who were shouting epithets at us and not actually spit on one of my friends. And that really And that I thought then, why? Why are these people acting like this? Name of the title of the book. Okay. When I graduated from high school, I went into the Navy. Navy, again, camaraderie as far as my shipmates were concerned. But when we went on liberty, the white sailors went this way, the black sailors went that way. I'm saying, as an adult then, why? Why? Okay, getting back to
Please,
I'm sorry,
we're
you
gonna
got
run
me
out of time.
started.
I'll tell you right now.
You
So
got me started. I
know that.
apologize. I'm going to wrap this up.
We got to wrap it up because
Yeah,
I need
I
to do that.
understand. I'm
Okay,
glad you had your editing thing.
No, I'm not
Okay.
gonna. I don't edit. The thing is that I only got a few minutes left on the Zoom call. It's only
Okay.
40-minute call, and
Okay, so
our interviews are
I'll
much
end by
shorter.
saying that all three of these novels can be purchased
What's
from
peace for you? What's
for
peace
me.
for you? Just in one sentence, what or two sentences? What does peace mean for you?
Peace for me. Okay.
Yes,
Peace
in
for
a few
me.
sentences. Yes.
Few sentences. Okay. Peace for me. Peace for me is to be able to see the next generation, okay, the succeeding generation of Americans, okay, live what my dream is, what motivates me, and that is that all men are created equal. In the words of that slave owner, Thomas Jefferson, who penned the Declaration of Independence, okay, to take it literally as opposed to the way it's been defined. I want the United States of America. I am such a patriot. You say, I want my country to succeed, and I want my country to succeed by following the words, the literal words of the Declaration of Independence, not as they intended, those slave owners who wrote it, but literally what it says and what it should mean to us now, that everyone here, all men and women, all people of all races, okay, are born equal. In the words of Oscar Hammerstein II, okay, prejudice is not innate. You have to be carefully taught. That's one
I
of the
love
things.
it. I love it. Let's end with my buddy Oscar Hammerson, who lives near my mom in the cemetery. In any case, a member of my temple also. So I love you. Thank you so much, my friend. What's your website again?
Booksbymarvinblake.com.
All right, Mr. Marvin Blake, we did it. Thank you so much. A lot of education I just received, and I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Paul. Take care.